Hello there.
Oh, Billy.
Hi, Olivia. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Mm.
So I don't want to see a film about a guy flying around in a cape and tights and saving the world. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all right to see it.
슈퍼히어로 영화를 내켜하지
but that's
않는
all they're
이분,
doing in
20세기
America.
오컬트 호러의 전설
The
엑소시스트를
films
연출한
coming out of
윌리엄
America
프리드킨
are nothing
감독입니다.
but superhero movies, and they're so predictable, you know. And I go to a film in the same way I go to a concert or go to an art exhibition, which is to be surprised and enlightened, not just to stare at the screen like opium for the eyes.
오래된 영화지만 엑소시스트, 모르는 사람이 거의 없는 영화죠. 지난 주말 부천영화제에서는 다큐멘터리 윌리엄 프리드킨, 엑소시스트를 말하다 상영 후에 다큐를 만든 감독과 프리드킨 감독이 나눈 온라인 토크 영상이 공개됐어요. 이번 영상에서는 우리가 미처 몰랐던 엑소시스트의 진면모를 다시 한번 짚어보면서 두 분이 나눴던 대화도 살짝 엿보려고 합니다. 우리가 너무 잘 아는 엑소시스트는 사실 2000년에 재편집된 감독판입니다. 우리가 너무 잘 아는 계단의 거미 시퀀스나 영화 곳곳에 깜짝 등장하는 악마의 형상 같은 장면이 나중에 감독판에 삽입됐는데요. 상업영화로서는 시도하지 않았던 도전적인 프로젝트여서 주변에서 걱정이 많았나 봅니다. 이번 마스터클래스에서도 프리드킨 감독은 이 영화를 제작할 당시의 어려움에 대해서 자주 언급하더라고요. 하지만 확고한 비전이 있었던 그는 분명한 방향을 갖고 영화를 만들기 시작했죠. 이에 대해서 이번 마스터클래스 때 감독님이 직접 언급한 내용이 있습니다.
We agreed upon right away in our interview process was that we were not going to talk about special effects. You know, we were going to focus on art, on music, process, nuances. And you actually told me one thing that really struck me. You said that if you were to make The Exorcist today, you would tone down the special effects.
No, I think what I said, or if I didn't say it, this is what I meant. I might, in fact, tone down the special effects, but that would not be faithful to the novel. All of the special effects in the film are indicated in the novel. And I wasn't making an original work. I was the vessel through which The Exorcist passed. William Peter Blatty created and wrote The Exorcist. And the incidents that he has in it are what I set out to film. Not my own version, but I probably would not have made the special effects as graphic as they are.
Right.
I might have put them more off stage, but would that be a good idea for the public? I don't know. I can't answer that really. No idea.
지금에야 우리는 이 영화를 공포영화의 걸작이다, 오컬트 영화의 효시다라는 여러 수식어를 써서 표현하지만
Yeah, and The Exorcist is is a lot about goodness. It's a lot about love. I mean,
애초에 연출 의도는 관객들을 놀래켜야겠다라는 것이 아니었다고 하네요.
We never set out to make a horror film. We knew it would be disturbing. We knew it would disturb a lot of people to witness what was happening to a child. But when you decide to depict evil, you can't just make evil, not a very nice guy. It's got to be evil for the goodness to be.
종교라는 미스터리에 관해서 그리고 빙의라는 개념에 관해서 윌리엄 프리드킨 감독이 어떤 목표를 갖고 이 영화를 만들려 했는지가 이번 다큐멘터리에 상세하게 소개됩니다. 지금은 널리 알려진 사실이지만 영화를 만들 당시에 정말이지 모두가 반대했던 장면이 하나 있었다고 합니다. 그건 바로 이라크 북부에서 촬영한 영화의 첫 장면이었어요.
Blatty's original screenplay.
Blatty wanted to change the novel. Blatty never thought any of that stuff could be filmed. You know, he didn't think the Iraq sequence could be filmed. And everyone had told Blatty to cut the sequence in Iraq, except me. I mean, his publisher didn't want that. He didn't understand it. The studio, Warner Brothers, didn't understand the Iraq sequence or what it meant. But I felt it was the perfect setup for the film, the way to meet the man who had faced the devil in the past, who was an archaeologist, who was based on the famous Jesuit theologian Teilhard de Chardin.
The opening sequence in Iraq, which, as you know, I'm fascinated by. And in fact, if you recall, we spent the first day and a half of our series of interviews just talking about that prologue. And then, you know, of course, you gave me your diary, or rather, I found it at the Margaret Herrick Library. And, you know, you referred to that prologue as a tremendous risk to put into a film or a book. Why did you feel that this was a risk, and why did you feel that it was a risk worth taking?
Well, all it did was set the mood. It had no real relation to the rest of the story. It introduced Father Marin, who was the priest who performed the exorcism. It introduced him as an archaeologist.
Right.
And that's all it did, and allowed me to make beautiful images of him in an actual archaeological dig that was being conducted by a German group in Nineveh, which is one of the most historic places in the Western world. And I felt that the setting of the mood, the spiritual nature of the work he was doing, and his ultimate instinct that he was about to face the demon again is all that takes place in that scene. It's a hint, and then it's gone for an hour and a half. And by the time he comes back to the house where the little girl is possessed, I'm sure people have forgotten who the hell this guy is. And as I told you at the beginning of this discussion, Alexander, his publisher didn't want him to include that,
Right.
or Warner Brothers. They didn't want me to film it. And no one wanted me to go to Iraq. I couldn't get insurance. The State Department would not allow me to go to Iraq, which, you know, if I were to go, and if I had permission to go to North Korea, I would want to go because, you know, I'm curious. But I'm sure the State Department would not be behind it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I would not be able to get permission from the State Department.
Right.
But my curiosity extends to the whole world.
Sure. Sure.
And part of the advantage of being a filmmaker is that you get an opportunity to see so much of the world that you otherwise would not.
프리드킨 감독이 영향을 받았던 수많은 고전 영화와 감독이 중요하게 생각하는 영화적인 장치들, 내지는 감독의 영화적 비전에 관해서 깊이 있는 고민을 들어볼 수 있고, 엑소시스트를 연출하면서 가장 큰 영향을 받았던 음악과 미술에 대해서 아주 상세한 뒷이야기를 들을 수 있다는 점에서 주목할 만합니다. 아직 못 본 관객이 있다면 부천영화제와 왓챠가 협업한 온라인 상영관을 이용해 보셔도 좋을 것 같아요. 그럼 마지막으로 관객들의 질문에는 뭐라고 답하셨는지 잠깐 들어볼까요?
Who asks, at what point in the making of a film does sound design become important to you?
It's every bit as important as visual, and I work on them separately. I do the soundtracks, including the dialogue, completely separate from the making of the film. because I grew up when we had dramatic radio in America, and you had incredible stories, especially suspense stories, on the radio, where you had to envision what was happening. You didn't see it on a screen. There was no screen. It was simply sound. But the use of sound effects. I mean, if you listen, for example, to the opening of The Exorcist, the quiet music, much of which is made by a hand rubbing the top of a wine glass. And then it segues into the music of Krzysztof Penderecki, the great composer who died recently. But that sound, that music, which is as important as what you're watching, was as important to me as what you were watching. So I go out and create the track completely. On the French Connection, after I shot the chase scenes, I went back myself with a tape recorder, a Nagra tape recorder, and I recorded all the sounds of the car, the train, the various sounds they made, braking, and turning, and stopping, and all of that. It was all put in later and treated as it was like a separate art form.
이제 시간이 다 됐다는군요.
Conclusion of our wonderful conversation here. I'm really grateful for your time, as I'm sure Thomas and everybody at BIFAN is. And
well, I'm very happy to at least be a part of BIFAN in this way. And happy to answer your questions.
믿음과 선과 악의 미스터리, 극단적인 희생과 선함, 사랑을 다룬 영화 엑소시스트의 윌리엄 프리드킨 감독을 만날 수 있는 날이 오기를 기대하면서 이번 영상을 마치겠습니다. 감사합니다.